Dr Adnan al-Bursh was one of Gaza's leading limb surgeons, a father of three who trained at King's College London before returning home to work in al-Shifa hospital's trauma wards. Forced to leave his patients by an IDF siege, he was detained alongside medical staff at another hospital in Gaza in December. News of his death spread today, less than 24 hours after Israel released prisoners back into Gaza, along with the body of Ismail Khada, another man who, like him, died in custody. Dr al-Bursh's body, meanwhile, is still being held by Israeli authorities. British Palestinian Dr Ghassan Abu-Sittah worked alongside him at al-Shifa just before the siege began.
I last saw him a day before al-Shifa hospital was surrounded. And we were just kind of crossing each other in the corridor while each of us went to their operating rooms. And he was always so friendly, and he was always, even at the most difficult times, smiling.
The Palestinian Prisoners Association say Dr al-Bursh is the 18th Gazan to have died in custody since October the 7th. Dozens of prisoners freed in past months have reported ill treatment, including torture and sleep deprivation, which Israel has denied, saying it abides by international law. Israel's prison service says Dr al-Bursh was detained for national security reasons. It's not clear how he died. He was head of orthopaedics at al-Shifa hospital, which was besieged by the IDF in November. Forced to leave his patients, he then moved to al-Awda hospital in Jabalia refugee camp, where in December he was detained along with 10 others. On April the 19th, the Israeli prison service issued a statement saying that a prisoner had died here in Ofer prison in the West Bank. And yesterday, Israel released 64 Palestinian prisoners through the Kerem Shalom crossing. It was only after their return that the link was made. The man who had died was the 50-year-old surgeon.
I mean, this was someone who had trained in Germany, trained in the UK. For him, staying in Gaza was an option. He could have gone elsewhere. He could have gotten a job in any country he chose. But he chose to be with his people. He chose to serve them. He chose to stay at Shifa Hospital when it was besieged. And then he chose to leave Shifa and go to another hospital to continue his work.
Medical groups, including the World Health Organization, have called for a halt to attacks on Gazan healthcare workers, with research from Insecurity Insights suggesting more than 200 have been killed so far. Dr al-Bursh's loss will be felt by those who needed his care the most. This, a war whose battles are fought not just in the streets and by air, but in the very institutions that should be the safest.